Have you ever wondered how long time it takes to lose those hard-earned gains that you get in the gym? Is it days? Is it weeks? Is it months? Is it years? I've got some news for you, and it's probably shorter than you think. So I recently had a talk with a client, or clients actually, that I train one-on-one, and this is a recurring theme. So what often happens is that people will train intensively towards a goal. You'll work hard, you'll go to the gym, you'll follow the program, you'll eat right, you'll try to sleep enough to recover to get those gains. And then after a period of time, life just seems to happen. You're busy at work, you go on holiday, there's other life stressors or things that kind of take up space. And then slowly it becomes harder and harder to actually maintain that training. And what I've noticed and what happened with these clients is that their work just kind of started creeping in, and then they stopped prioritizing themselves, which meant that some of the sessions we had were canceled, and then it got harder and harder to reschedule them because they were busy. And this is a shame because they've worked really, really hard to achieve where they are now, and then they risk losing all of this, or at least some of it. But how long time does it actually take to go from where you are back to where you started? So today I'm going to share some of the science behind this, to give you an idea of how long time you can actually take off from training before it becomes a problem and you have to start over. If you've ever taken a week or more off of training, like vacation, injury, or let's be honest, just laziness, you might notice that if you take a little bit of time off and you've been training hard, you might come back and be stronger. If you take off more time, what usually happens is when you go back to training, you'll experience that you're not at the same place that you used to be. You're not as fast, you're not as strong, you're not as explosive. Your body just kind of holds back a little bit. But how much strength do you actually lose, and how fast does it go? And more importantly, how can you prevent this from happening? If you're new here, please subscribe and help me grow this channel. And also, you'll get tips and tricks and a lot of inspiration for your own training. Let's jump into today's topic. So this topic came up because I noticed this time and time again. I'll start training with someone who doesn't train regularly. We'll train for a few months. They get really good progress. They feel they're stronger, they're more fit, they're able to do stuff that they weren't able to do before. And then suddenly life starts to creep in. They take a little bit of time off. Sometimes they'll say, I'll just try to train on my own for the next month or so, and then I'll resume training with you. But what usually happens is it's hard for them to maintain that level of intensity in training and progression that we were doing. So if they actually come back to training, they'll have lost a lot of the gains that they've had. This got me thinking about when I was studying sports science back in the day. And I remember my professor showed us a diagram of how long time it actually takes for you to lose the muscle and the strength that you've gained after a period of 12 weeks of training. The way I remember it, it was that you lose half of the muscle you gained after just 2 weeks. Now, luckily, this is not the case and it's not this bad. But, however, if you don't train for 12 weeks, so that's 3 months, you will lose, hold on, 50% of the muscle and strength that you've gained. That's significant. So it takes a long time to build up strength, it takes a long time to build up muscle mass, and it takes a lot of effort as well. You need to eat a lot, you need to sleep right, you need to plan your training, and you need to have a progression. And then if you stop training and just go back to the way it was before, you lose 50%. That's like the IRS or like the tax department coming and just kind of cutting your gains in half. So the question is, how can you prevent some of this loss? And it's actually way easier than you think. So let's get into some of the science of training and detraining. Whenever you go to the gym, you hit the weights hard enough, your body will respond by adapting to this stress. It will increase the protein synthesis, which means that it will build muscle mass. Your nervous system is going to adapt as well, so you get better at kind of sending signals from your brain throughout your nervous system and into your muscles to actually make the muscles contract harder. Also, what's going to happen is you have some of these protective mechanisms. So if I try to create force on this side, I actually have signals going to the opposing side of the joint to protect myself or protect my body from tearing itself apart. And some of this stuff goes away as well. So you get better at inhibiting stuff that's inhibiting you from actually doing the movement that you want to do. But what happens is that when you stop training, because muscle tissue is metabolically expensive, your body will only maintain whatever you need to be able to move through your life. So if you never lift anything heavy, why should your body be strong enough to lift anything heavy? Why should it spend resources maintaining bone mass and like strong tendons and strong muscles? Because this costs energy. It means that you need to consume more. It means you need to spend more energy gathering food. Your body's gonna slowly get rid of this. Now, obviously, this doesn't happen in one day. Your body will start to lose strength and muscle mass after a week or two of not training. And then slowly you'll lose more and more and more over time. So because strength is a result of muscle size and your ability to send signals from your brain to your muscles through your nervous system, and also coordinate the firing of all your motor units in synchrony, some of this stuff gets lost as well, which means that the loss of maximal strength actually happens pretty fast, because the ability to do this synchronization, you lose this ability quite fast if you don't train at all. The study I was referring to earlier is from 2008, and I remember this because it made an impact on me. I remember we were talking about like, what should you do if you have to take a period of time off of training? Could be due to travel, could be due to injury, could be due to other stressors in your life, could be due to having kids. All of this stuff impacts your ability to maintain a structured training program. So here are some tips to avoid losing your hard-earned gains. Number one, if you can't train like you normally would, at least stay active. So at least move your body and not just walking around. If you want to maintain any muscle mass and strength in your upper body, you need to use it. So there's this saying in physiology, either you use it or you're going to lose it. So use your body. You don't have to have access to a gym. You can do bodyweight exercises, do some push-ups, do some squats, do some lunges, jump a little bit, just to maintain that explosive power as well. Do some pulling. Now, you don't have to do a full training session to maintain. It's way easier to maintain something than it is to build it up. Because in order for you to build it up, you need to do more than you did before. And in order for you to maintain, you just have to stress the body enough to make your system go, this is still necessary for me to keep. Second thing is to prioritize protein. So protein is the building block, or building blocks, I should say, of muscle mass. So protein, if you eat like a meal full of protein, this gets broken down into amino acids, which then get reassembled into the protein structures that you need in your body. So you need to eat adequate amount of protein. How much is adequate? So generally, I recommend, and a lot of other people in my position recommend, that you eat a minimum of 1.6 gram of protein per kilo of body weight per day. I would go a little bit higher and say, ideally, you should probably eat 2, maybe 2.5 gram of protein per kilo of body weight per day. Newer research has shown that if you strength train, then the amount of protein that will benefit you is actually even higher than that. But that's for another video. If you are short on time, one thing that can be really beneficial is doing eccentric focused exercises, because eccentric focused exercises tend to build more muscle mass and more strength than purely concentric. What do I mean by eccentric? So in any lift or movement where gravity is involved, you will have a concentric part, which is you moving against the pull of gravity. So I would be moving here and gravity would be pulling here. And you will have an eccentric part of the movement, which is you going the same direction as gravity is pulling, but you're resisting that. So say you're doing a pull-up. If I pull myself up, that's the concentric. And as I lower down, that's the eccentric. So lowering down or doing the eccentric component or focusing more on this in movements means a few things. It means that you will have a longer time under load, which means your muscles will be working longer to produce force during a repetition. And also it means that you can do heavier movements fewer times than you would be able to do in a concentric pull. So a lot of people are able to jump up to a bar, hold on to the bar and then lower from there, but they can't do a pull-up or chin up. This is a way to maintain muscle mass and strength without having to do a ton of work. So key takeaway from this is if you go into a detraining period, after 12 weeks, you will lose around 50% of your muscle mass and your strength gains. If you employ some of these strategies to maintain it, if you move around, if you eat enough protein, if you maybe do some eccentric focused work, you can maintain a lot of that and prevent these losses. If you found this information useful, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps me enormously to grow my channel. Catch you next time.